Welcome into the Set It Off Network. I'm your host, Michael Sedetall. I am here with the one and only Will Volk, live Augusta, Georgia. All right, he's coming to you. It is week 12, Will. We are closing in on the end of the season. It is after we saw what happened in week 11, a lot of teams slipping up, costing themselves playoff chances there. This week looks like another one of those weeks where it's feels like playoff games are happening all over the place. And, the first game we're going to kind of preview this week is going to be where College Game Day is this week. And that is going to be a noon East Coast kickoff. It will be Notre Dame heading to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to take on the Pitt Panthers. Unfortunately, Pitt plays at an NFL stadium, so that kind of sucks. But both of these teams really good on the season. Both teams 7-2. We obviously kind of know a little bit more about Notre Dame. 7-2, but 0-2 in their first two games, have now won 7 straight. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, not so much. Not really a marquee win on their schedule, I would say. They kind of are just one of those middle tier ACC teams here. Sitting here with one conference loss, though, they are one of 5 ACC teams right now with one loss in conference play. The ACC in general is just absolutely ridiculous, but they have a loss to Louisville and a loss to West Virginia. So a team that's won 5 games in a row, though, Will, and earned a College Game Day experience for this weekend. So what are you thinking? Your initial thoughts? Pittsburgh, Notre Dame. Right now, Notre Dame a 10.5-point favorite. How are you feeling about this game?
Oh, I'm just checking. No, it opened at 11.5, now 10.5. You're right. So, it's wild that it has become the College Game Day game at Pittsburgh of all places. But I think that's because Alabama, Georgia have already hosted, and they don't want to go back to those places a second time. It's really interesting that Pitt's in this position, though. They have a chance to still win the ACC with that one conference loss, like you mentioned. The ACC has really struggled in non-conference play. We look at a team like Duke, right? It's got 4 losses, but they're still in the mix. And Pitt has a non-conference loss, and it might be another one this Saturday. But hey, it's all good. They can lose to Notre Dame by a lot of points. Their coach even said it. They can lose by a lot, and they're still good, baby. They're still good in the ACC. So I don't know if this is one of those inconsequential games for Pitt or not, but I know for Notre Dame, margin of error is very, very small. They can't lose this one if they're going to make the playoff.
Yeah, I was looking at the odds for the ACC championship today, and Duke with 4 losses has the second best odds to win the ACC.
Incredible.
Just unreal what is going on in that conference over the last couple weeks. But no, these two teams, Pitt and Notre Dame, are actually very similar. As far as their stats go, these teams are very good offensive teams. Both teams rank in the top 10 nationally in points per game. Pittsburgh averaging 40 points per game on offense, but they do it a little bit differently. Notre Dame is a very balanced team, a team that's top 25 in passing and top 25 in rushing offense. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, really struggles to run the football. But they are number 11 in the country in passing, and they pass for over 300 yards per game. But like I said, 104th in rushing. So if you're going to shock the world and kind of pull this upset on Saturday, you really kind of have to balance those numbers out. I feel like Notre Dame is a very good football team, a lot of talent. And then you have a guy in Mason Heischel. I think I'm saying his name right. I have no clue. But he took over for Eli Holstein, the Alabama transfer, who actually played significantly well last year. He ends up getting benched for this kid who comes in, starts 5 of their last games, and in those 5 games, they are 5-0 and 12 touchdowns. He does turn the ball over a little bit there, 5 interceptions as well on the season in those 5 starts. But he is a gunslinger. He is one of those guys who is going to throw the ball over the yard. That's kind of what Pittsburgh's thing has been this year. They're going to throw the ball a lot, but he puts the ball in harm's way a lot. So That is going to be one of the key things that I think we're going to have to watch in this game is if Pittsburgh can stay on the right side of that turnover battle, things could bode well for Pittsburgh and they can compete in this football game. But you mentioned it, man. The ACC kind of crazy this year, and one thing I want to mention with Pitt is that remaining schedule. They have a chance really here to kind of set it off in the next 3 weeks. Will
Not at all.
with their schedule, they play three straight ranked opponents. Two of them at home, though. And you have Notre Dame, and then you go to Georgia Tech, and then you finish the year with Miami at home. So a very big opportunity this week for Pittsburgh with the marquee game this week, and then obviously the chance to build on that. Already a team that's ranked in the top 25 could absolutely skyrocket into the college football playoff rankings with a big finish to the year.
You are not wrong about that. They have it all in front of them, three ranked opponents in a row, but that's a tough task to string together three quality wins like that. I do want to mention something because we saw the Pittsburgh coach in the press conference, right, previewing the game, and somebody asked if he felt like the Notre Dame game is a must win, and he basically said, absolutely not, because it's not an ACC game. I'd gladly get beat by like 103 or 110-10. They could put 100 up on us. And I kind of see what he's saying. This is what this 12-team playoff has created. It's created a world where you have games that don't have much bearing on the postseason towards the end of the season. And for Pitt, it kind of feels like that because I don't see a world, even though they've got three ranked teams in a row, I don't see them winning out and getting an at-large over, say, a 10-2 SEC team. I just don't see it happening. So, yeah, I don't think it's must-win for Pitt. And I don't know if you'd be like NFL teams in some games late season where you'd bench players, but I don't know. What's the point? What's the point of trying in a game like this when it has no meaning for your ACC or playoff hopes?
It's embarrassing, honestly. It's embarrassing that he said that today. I understand the question and he responded to it in his honest opinion. So I mean, I got to give him credit. He's being completely honest when he says it. But the fact is me and you have talked. I mean, for years, even before we did this podcast, when the whole expansion thing, I'm not a big in favor of the whole expansion thing because it's a slippery slope. We were never going to stop at 12. It was, we're going to continue to just expand and expand. And eventually it's going to get to the point where everybody kind of makes this thing. But this is one of the things that I hated about it the most, right? Is we are talking about a game, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, two teams that are, traditional rivals that play mostly every year, I believe. But we are talking about a game that is college game day worthy. And you're right. Like for Pittsburgh, in retrospect, this game means absolutely nothing for them. Now, on the Notre Dame side, this game means everything for them because they have used up all of their mulligans earlier this year. They managed to use both of them up in the first 2 weeks of the season. So from Notre Dame side, they are in wounded animal mode the entire rest of this year. Now, from the Notre Dame perspective, this is a team that's won 7 straight games by an average of 26 points per game, Will. They are a team that offensively now is one of the best teams. We already mentioned, top 30 in rushing, top 30 in passing. So they're a very well-balanced team. But a little note with the whole college football playoff thing, and I believe Notre Dame is at 10 right now or 11 or something like that in the playoff rankings. But the fact that they're ranked that high to me doesn't really sit right because Notre Dame has 7 wins in a row, right? Of their 7 wins, though, 3 of those games have been against teams that are last place in the ACC, Big Ten, and SEC. Will Boston College, Purdue, and Arkansas, and all of those teams combined right now, 0-18 in league play in their conferences. Not really the best strength of schedule there. And not only that, they're 5-24 overall. Only 2 of those 5 wins are coming against FBS teams. So this is not a marquee type schedule for Notre Dame this year. They really kind of, to me, I think personally, obviously the committee thinks they're a certain way, but me personally, I feel about Notre Dame the way I do because they had their opportunity already earlier in the season. They played the two best teams that were going to play on their schedule, and they had one of them at home. They had one of them on the road, right? And they lost both of those games. Granted, both of those games were super close, one possession games, and could have went either way. But in my opinion, you leave yourself room for no error when it comes to the way their schedule is set up. So I don't know. This Notre Dame team is obviously probably going to get a good ranked win this weekend against a bad Pittsburgh team who wants to lose 110-10. So I mean, the committee will use that against me. They'll use that USC game against me and all that stuff. But in my humble opinion, I just feel like this Notre Dame team is not really worthy of being in that playoff conversation at this point in time. If we're not talking about Miami in the playoff conversation right now, then why are we talking about Notre Dame? Because they have the same exact record, and it's just basically recency bias. I mean, if Miami would have lost two games at the beginning of the season and they've won seven straight, we'd be hyping up Miami about, wow, they're playing their best football right now. But instead, they lost two of their last four games, and everybody thinks the world's ending for them. So I don't know. This game has a lot of traction to it. It's obviously a very important game for both of these teams if they want to make the college football playoff. But as far as the whole bigger picture thing, that's kind of my take on Notre Dame. I don't know how you feel about it, but
Well, yeah, but for Notre Dame, I think the committee is not just like looking at when you lost, but who you lost to and how you lost. Those were close games against some quality teams versus Miami. I mean, Louisville, I don't know what to think. They just took a loss to California, I think, last week. And then they lost to SMU, who's still in that ACC mix themselves. So I don't know. But, we both predicted our little brackets last week. If you look at the bracket prediction show that we did, and we had Notre Dame. Both of us had them going 10-2, right? And we had them out of our bracket just because of how crowded it is. Even if Notre Dame wins out, I'm not sure they make it. And Miami, they still have things in front of them. They get to play this same Pittsburgh team. They might have a chance to get into that ACC title game as conferences or as chaotic as that conference has been. So if Miami and Notre Dame are viewed on the same level in the eyes of the committee again, they could look at that head-to-head result and bump them back ahead of Notre Dame. Don't know, but either way, Notre Dame cannot slip up against Pitt in this one, and I don't think they will. I don't think Pitt's gonna keep it close, honestly.
yeah, it's just hard for me. I mean, honestly, it's just my opinion. I don't think it's going to happen. Well, I feel like if Notre Dame wins out, they're going to be in the college football playoff. I mean, this team's ranked 10th right now in the college football playoff rankings. It's like they're going to get a win against a ranked team this weekend. They're not really going to drop anymore. So it's like it's only going to be if teams in front of them lose, they're just going to move up. So I can't really see a world where they could drop out of that top 10 to 12 range to where they couldn't get one of those at-large bids.
But I'd
You
like
know,
to argue, though, look at the teams below them. Texas, Oklahoma, they have big games this week. Let's say they both win. I would think those teams would jump Notre Dame. And there might be some other teams down lower, too, that can jump, especially if they win a conference. So,
that is true. So, Will, we got to predict this game eventually. So, 10 and a
yeah.
half point spread. Notre Dame's favored. Both these teams 7-2. Noon kickoff at Pittsburgh. What's your prediction? You got Notre Dame winning. You got Pittsburgh winning. What you feeling?
Yeah, Notre Dame is going to win. I think they'll easily cover. I don't know if this Pitt coach is going to be so bold as to be like, who cares if we don't win? Um, is he going to even bench some players if it gets to a certain point to not risk injury? Because you've got those two important ACC games still to go. Everything's still in front of you, win or lose in this game. And yeah, Notre Dame just feels like they have a lot more to play for. I think they're going to blow them out, win by like 30 points at least.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Notre Dame's going to win this game. They're going to beat the brakes off of Pittsburgh. It's going to be bad. Um, and yeah, and we're going to be sitting here talking about the same thing we kind of just talked about. Is Notre Dame a playoff team? Is like Coach Narduzzi said, hey, we got everything to play for. What if Pitt goes on to win the next two games? Then nobody even cares about this game because they're going to be an
Yeah, didn't
at-large
matter
team
for them.
and make the playoff, and then they're going to lose by 40 in the first round of the playoff, just like SMU did last year. So, I mean, really, this game on the grand scheme of things really doesn't feel like it matters. It obviously matters a lot for Notre Dame, and I think they're going to play like it matters a lot for Notre Dame. I'm with you on that one. I could easily see this game being 30, 40-point blowout. It could be a long day for Pitt fans on Saturday, but thank you guys for watching this game preview for Week 12. Make sure you catch out all of our game previews throughout the week. We're going to be previewing a couple more games. We're going to be dropping some more upset alerts later on in the week. So make sure you're checking that out and staying tuned for after Saturday, where we post our reactions to certain games and how everything is kind of shaken out with college football coming to a close. That means the games are just getting bigger, guys. So you're going to want to check out these previews. You're going to want to check out these reactions to kind of get your take for the water cooler on Monday mornings, and you can have all this wonderful knowledge. But what you got to do, Will, you got to subscribe to the channel. That's how you get there. All right. You don't have to subscribe to watch it. We just ask nicely that you do. If you're choosing to watch this, we ask you nicely to please subscribe. We're closing in on 1,000, Will. Every day we get more and more, but we need you. We need you guys. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. We will see you guys next time.